You've got that role, mother and full-time professional, the executive sort of search, and so you're recruiting to for your client to get the right people in. So you've got people who are showing up in their best version of themselves at the time, and also across corporate and not for profit. So when you're in that space, what advice or support do you often give to candidates who are thinking about making a career shift or wanting to go somewhere different, or exploring new avenues for themselves when they're really unsure about what it would look like, where they should go, what suits them, and then and that uncertainty around, is the place going to be for me?
Values, like it's just all comes back to values, and being really diligent with those and understanding what they are. Like, so we do a lot of work with organisations around their organisational values, and it's not something that you can create. It's you uncover them. An organisation is a heartbeat. It's a human, and those values are there. So we go in and we uncover what the values are, and the CEO might not like it, but okay, well, what are you going to do about it? It's similar to us. Like, we have to uncover what they are. Not recently, it would have been 3 years ago. 3 years ago, did some values work, and they showed up very, very differently to what I thought that they actually were. I did resonate back then with the boss bitch, mum, money earner, Scorpio, fire sign, sting in the tail. And so I had this set of values that were, fit for purpose. And then, life blew up, did some actual deep work on myself and came up with this set of values, which I didn't get to choose. They just sort of rose to the top. They were just there. And I was like, fuck. And the one thing for me was family wasn't in there. And I was like, but I'm a mother. I have to have family in there. It's like, no, well, you don't. You've got love in there, and that, love can be whatever. So doing the work on values and understanding first how you're going to make decisions moving forward in your life. And then, making changes. I think if somebody comes to me and says, I want to make a change, for me, it's about why. And all roads lead back to values. Often it'll lead back to something happening in their life that they need to work through, that they're perhaps not even aware of, or perhaps something that's just there, it's undercurrent that they're not aware of. And, changing jobs is just a Band-Aid. So it's really interesting when people come to me, because my type of coaching and the stuff that I've been sort of working through, which is a very different modality for most people in my industry. Everyone's an executive coach, and I'm like, hey bro, let's talk about your fears. What are your core fears? Like, what happened to you as a child? And they're like, I just want a new job. I was like, can't get out of it that easily. It often comes back from that. We make decisions based on stories we tell ourselves in our heads, and those stories are fictitious. Our mind's really untrustworthy. So your mind will take over and tell you things. So often when people come to want to change jobs, it's not that. It's go do the thing. Go, eat the frog. Go have that conversation with your boss. Try and make meaningful change in your own life, because it's like a relationship. You're going to carry your baggage from one to the next if you don't actually work with it. Know why you are wanting to make the change. Yeah. Don't think, feel, and understand it. And if you don't understand it, go see someone who can unpack it.
That's awesome. And it goes for corporate also in terms of the business requirements, because we do these vision and mission statements, we do these value checks, and then business obstacles come up, and all of a sudden we're going with what we think we should know or what our instinct is or what have you. Yeah. But if you're not going back to, is this in line with what we're saying our organisational values or objectives are we actually seeking a solution that's right?
Correct. And have you ever seen a company set of values that are like, we embrace conflict? No. They're all like words on a wall, words on a page. It's all done by marketing agencies. Our work is when we get in there and go, right, let's operationalise those. What do they mean from behaviours? And how are you, Mr. CEO, living bold? How are you being bold? And then they go, so all the money they spend on the glossy stuff that goes on the wall, we go, give us 30 grand to operationalise them. And they're like, oh, no.
He's like, but look at my tie. It's really pretty.
Look at these socks on. Look at my socks. It's like, so it's yeah, you don't see a set of company values that aren't digestible.
Yes, lovely. Jana, taking it to a really kind of personal approach a bit here, but during our lunch we talked about the beauty and the difference of your workforce all across the generations, but also what each individual is going through in their life at each time, and yourself included, and then also what the business is going through. So at any one time when you have, particularly I guess in a creative field like yours, where you do have people who might be operations, stay true, can do the job of installation or the job for a long time, and then others you've got fresh blood coming in that have got innovative minds, or you've got your experience as well. How are you navigating it? How do you navigate staying agile in the way that you talk to, work with, direct your team, whilst also staying agile in how you show up for yourself? Because you did allude to before that you're noticing energy shifts, different stages of your life, different stages of your business ownership, where your kids are at, all of those kind of things. What's your approach to this?
Yeah, so this is when I got really deep at the lunch. So the tennis match stopped and I kind of said, well, ladies, I'm actually dealing with menopause at the moment. And they were like, shit.
We don't talk about Bruno.
It was like, yeah, it was actually hilarious because Gaz and I were talking and all I heard was menopause. I was like, what? It's just, okay, and now we're talking. It did stop them in their tracks. And I think that, and it's hard because I started my business when I was 19. So I was always the baby in the room. I was always the young person on the panel. I'm now the oldest. And that's really weird because my brain still thinks I'm 26, right? I keep saying to it, you're not 26. But it still thinks I'm 26, where in actuality, I'm not. I'm in my mid-50s and I'm going through menopause. And as I was saying earlier, it got really scary this year because I've turned up to work every year and been excited about going to work. Vulnerability for us women, I think, is a superpower. I think for us to be able to be vulnerable will enable us to take over the world. It's going to take a little while longer, but I think the sooner that we all start talking about all the things that are difficult for us, and I know this is completely off topic.
No, it's perfect.
But I think
it's agile.
The sooner that we talk about, what's a struggle for me, it's tough, right? How many people are business owners here? Like, how many women? Like, it's tough. I've been doing it for 35 years and I said before I get it wrong and I keep trying and then I go back and I go, well, what do you need? But it's a constant battle and it's a constant struggle and I don't think it gets easier, but the more we put our hands up, I said to my teenage son, I said, imagine how the person feels that you asked to help them. If you turned to your sister and said, hey, Lib, you're really good at this media stuff. I'm really struggling. Could you help me? How do you think that would make her feel? And he said, oh, that would make her feel really good. And I said, yes. So sometimes if we stop thinking about us and how we feel, but we put ourselves in the other person's position, that might be the strength of that. So rather than thinking, I just want to cry or I want to scream or I want to, run away and just basically say that to someone, say, look, I'm really sorry, but I just want to cry, scream and run away. And they'll go, oh, okay. I see you. I get you. I'm having an avatar moment. I see you. Yes. But, I think that's important. And I think that for us as women, we're really good at that. Yeah. But I think in business, sometimes we forget and we try to be the man and we try to be really tough. Stop it. I think we just have to get it off and we have to get it out. And that's our superpower.
Yeah, brilliant.